Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Gary here from rvliving.life or RV Living Life on YouTube. So today we're going to talk about slide toppers. As many of you probably know, we have a 2014 Aspire, an Integra Aspire, and we absolutely love it. Like, how could you not? But the fact that it's a 2014, some of the things are starting to go on it, and one of them is the slide toppers. I noticed when I was on a ladder a few weeks back that the thread was giving out on all the slide toppers, and some of them worse than others. The two on the driver's side were definitely the worst, and the two on the passenger side not so much. So I knew I was going to have to repair these or replace them sooner or later. But as you know, things don't always go as planned. And one day recently during a rainstorm, it was quite windy, and the RV next to me, the lady in there, noticed that one of my slide toppers was flapping in the wind. So I got up on a ladder and I looked at it, and sure enough, like after the storm, it was full of water and collapsed onto the top of the slide out. So I decided, well, now's the time. So I ordered some new slide toppers. It took a week or so to get them, but by then the water on the roof had already frozen. So it was a bit of a challenge and it was cold out, but I did manage to get it done. We replaced both of them on the driver's side because they were the worst. The large one was collapsed and the smaller one was getting there. The thread was pretty much undone right from one end to the other. So those two were replaced first. And as I said earlier, the ones on the passenger side are not so bad. And it's winter here now and it's snowing, so we will change those in the spring. The first step of the process is to get up on a ladder and look at the end of your slide topper. You can see the housing is made by Carefree. It says it right on it, and this is how you change the Carefree slide toppers. There are some from other vendors on the Integra coaches. I'm not sure if you want to change yours and they're different than mine. You'll probably have to go look at a video on how to change those. Even after looking at my video, you probably should go to the manufacturer's site and see what they recommend. I'm just going to show you our experience at changing our slide toppers. So the first thing you got to do is you got to get out an Allen key set, and there's standard sizes. You know, there's a lot of metric stuff these days, but they are standard Allen keys. And you have to undo the Allen key on the end on the front. And if you look at the front of the awning, it has a cap over it, and you can tell which Allen key goes into the bottom of the cap and which one goes into the top. So the two bottom ones, you remove them completely, one from each end, and the two top ones, you remove them only halfway, you know, so that it's loose, and then you can work with it. And then when you look at the side of the awning, you can see that there's a tab about halfway down. And what you do is you reach up there with a screwdriver and you just slide it over until it clicks, and then the awning pops loose, or the cap, I should say. And then you fold it around over onto the top of the slide topper, and then you take the two bolts out that you didn't take out yet, and then it's loose, and you can just move it up onto the roof for now until you need it again. In my case, it was a little windy, so I put it on the ground and underneath the RV. I should also note that I also changed the rear slide topper, and it was not as long, so it did not have a part that you would just slide over and unlock. What it had was just kind of like a little clipped in thing. So you just put your screwdriver in the side of the awning and you could pry it up and it would pop open. I didn't know it worked this way. I kind of opened it by accident, trying to get the screwdriver in there and sliding it. But while I was doing that, I ended up popping it open. So now I know how it works. And then when you go to put it back on, you just snap it back in place. So once you have the cap of the slide topper off, you want to unfurl the awning the rest of the way. Now, it may seem like it's a hard thing to do, and it is a little tricky, I have to admit, because once you start unrolling it, you're fighting against a spring, and it's not that strong. But as you start to unroll it, you'll find out that the awning is soaking wet inside for years of having water rolled up inside the awning topper itself. So it's a bit of a struggle, but you get it unwound until you can see the metal, and then you can see the groove in the side of the roll, you know, where the awning is inserted. And once you get it to the point where it's unwound far enough, you take a pair of vice grips and you lock it on. And these vice grips are like oil filter, I think, changing vice grips or whatever, but they have the large round jaw. And once you get that locked in place, then the awning will not unroll again and the topper is loose. So the next thing you have to do is you have to go into the groove of the awning where the awning is put in. And in that groove, the groove on the roll there, you have to take a 1/4 inch drill and a drill bit, and you have to open it up a bit so that you can slide the awning out that hole. Because these things are assembled at the factory with the roll on it, with the fabric on it. And once they put it together, it's already sprung and what have you. So if you disassembled it, it would just, I don't know what would happen if you took the ends off, but the manufacturer recommends opening up that groove on the side, and then you take a little file and clean it out, and then you start to work the awning out that groove. Now, also there's a screw in the track on the side closest to the RV, and that screw keeps it from moving around. So you have to remove that screw from each end. And because the awning was already collapsed, it kind of just all fell out once I undid those screws. You know, it took a little bit of work, but the awning, the fabric, the thread was broken right from one end to the other, and it just unrolled itself around the bead that's inside that and fell off. And then I pulled the round bead out the end. So once I had it loose like that, it was just a matter of throwing it over the side so that it was hanging from the awning roller, and then feeding the end of the awning out the groove that I had opened up wider, and then just pulling it, and it came right off. It was quite easy to get off at that point. Well, got it off. I'm quite surprised at how brittle it feels. Like it's not smooth, not soft at all. It's very hard, very brittle. I think they would use something that would be, you know, last longer in the sun, but it is what it is. Now that the awning is off, the tracks are clear. I looked at it from end to end and I made sure there's no dirt or debris inside the tracks. I did pull out some small debris from leaves and twigs out of the tracks, cleaned them out nicely so the new awning would slide on well. And then in both grooves, the groove against the motorhome, as well as the groove in the roller, I sprayed with silicone lubricant. And this makes the new awning very easy to slide on. And you can see here, I'm just starting to get it on. It's actually a 2-person job to get it on, but I was able to slide it in about 1.5 feet or so by just pushing it in the 2 different tracks. It was going quite well. And then I had a friend come over and help me, and he pulled it right to the end. And then we centered it and lined everything up so that there was no wrinkles in it. And then we let go of the vice grips, and it was taut. So then, of course, you roll the slide out in and out a few times just to make sure everything's lined up properly. And once you've done that, you can put everything together again. Put the 2 screws back in the top, putting the 2 screws in halfway again, and then flipping it around till it's closed. If you have the long awning, you have to pull that little lock over to the side again so it clips in place. If you have the short awning, the housing closes and locks in on its own. And then you put the other bolts back in and you're done. It looks good, and quite happy with the job. It only took me about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 hours to do the front awning, and then another couple hours to do the back one. I did them on 2 different days, so it wasn't overwhelming. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you watching our videos. And if you want to, see any future videos, you could always click to subscribe. Clicking the like button or the thumbs up, we would really appreciate that. That helps to defeat the evil algorithm of YouTube. And if you want to ring that little bell when you subscribe, you'll be notified of any future videos when they come out. So once again, thanks for watching and have a great day. Take care, everyone. Bye now.